Welcome back. It's still your perfect morning start on Channels Television, the Morning Brief, and we're making progress to looking at another very critical matter that appears to be brewing between the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai. Of course, he has now been charged to court for an admission to what seems to be a crime in that interview that he granted on national television, where he admitted to wiretapping the conversation of the National Security Advisor. Of course, there are other levels to this subject, which is also allegations or concerns about stifling opposition. But what are the legal implications about this admission on live television? Joining us on this segment is constitutional lawyer and human rights activist, Mr. Enibehe Effiong. He joins us right here in our Lagos studio. Mr. Effiong, good morning.
Thank you. Good
and
morning.
Welcome to the program.
Good to be with you. Always a pleasure. Thank
yes,
you.
Indeed. Now, I took time to listen to him yet again, and here's what he said in that interview. He said, because that I know, but the government does it all the time. They listen to our calls all the time without a court order. Someone tapped his phone and told us that he gave the order. That's the order for his arrest. That's the admission of the former Kaduna State Governor, that he tapped the phone conversation of the National Security Advisor. Now, talk to us about how this can stand as evidence in a court of law, and if this will go anywhere in the charge that the federal government has now laid before the former Kaduna State Governor.
Thank you. Let me start by saying, without equivocation, that wiretapping or tapping the phone conversation of any person ordinarily is a matter of grave concern. It is not only one that predicates on possible breach of the right to privacy as guaranteed under Section 37 of the Constitution, which states that the privacy of citizens, including their telephone conversations and telegraphic communications, is hereby guaranteed and protected. So the telephone conversation of every person is constitutionally protected, and there is no allowance for invasion of that privacy except in the manner permissible by law. Namely, where, for example, there is an order of court, or where it is done maybe in furtherance of national security, provided certain constitutional and legal safeguards are met. Now, I have watched, I have reviewed, I have evaluated the statements made by former governor of Kaduna State that has now become a subject of legal contestation. What is said, is it excusable? No. Should it be encouraged? Certainly not. But has he committed a crime? There's a constitutional right to presumption of innocence. I'm not going to pass judgment on the merit or otherwise of the charge that they. The National Security Advisor of Nigeria, at a time that terrorism is ravaging our country, that people are being killed in their hundreds, has now gone on record to say, yes, I was careless enough, I was reckless enough, I am so incompetent that the NSA, my own phone, has been wiretapped. Because it appears that is what he's saying by the charge. Because they must take a position, definite position, whether his phone was wiretapped or not. If it was wiretapped, it speaks to his competence. If it was not wiretapped, what is the basis of the charge? They should resolve that first. I have started by saying that what El-Rufai said was unacceptable.
Sorry for cutting in. So who has to prove what? Let's take it in steps. That is the first charge, the second, or either the first count or the second count now. Who has to prove what? Is it the NSA or the DSS in this sense, or SSS, whatever name they call it, that will have to show that indeed Nasser El-Rufai, through his web proxy, actually did wiretap, or Nasser El-Rufai has to show that he actually did? You get my point?
El-Rufai doesn't have to show anything. I'm willing to take anybody on this with all sense of humility. I think every lawyer should agree to that point. He's not obligated to say anything. I'm not his fan. I'm not his admirer. I remember when he introduced the religious regulation bill in Kaduna State, and I wrote this article that went viral at the time. El-Rufai personally sent what I would describe as very unnecessary email to me. We were exchanging communication at the time. I was very antagonistic that why should I have an opinion about what he does in Kaduna State? So I don't see him as somebody who is tolerant of dissent. So I'm not speaking here holding brief for El-Rufai. I am saying that this government has shown unseriousness in this matter. It doesn't have to say anything as far as this case is concerned. Because when you look at the charge, have they even told us the instruments that he used for the wiretap? Have they told us which of the phone of the NSA that was wiretapped? These are things they must disclose in the charge. Let me be heard on this point, which is part of the reason why I say FSF has no business prosecuting. They use the word cohorts, and your cohorts that is so unnecessary, to put it in a very mild language. Why will you use that kind of language in a charge in his cohorts? Cohorts. So they quickly went to file this. If the SSS was to undertake a serious investigation, you can look at it. When they concluded, they should have forwarded the file to the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice would have reviewed it and decided and took a decision whether to prosecute or not. I am saying that based on what they have disclosed to us, I'm not sure that this is something that should go to court. And if it had to go to court, it is the Attorney General of the Federation, or at best, maybe the police, that should have filed this charge. This is supposed to be an intelligence gathering agency. Because we are so used to lawlessness in this country, because we are so used to doing things the wrong way. So that is why in Nigeria today, the State Security Service is being deployed for things that are outside their mandates. They basically do all sort of things.
So, regardless of the technical inadequacies of the filing of the charge on the part of the government, the federal government, and even if El-Rufai pleads the fifth in this case by not self-incriminating himself, the government, on the other hand, also has admitted that indeed, by this charge, that the NSA's phone was wiretapped. Does it then mean that because of the technical inadequacies, the court will not find El-Rufai guilty, or because there has been an admission to a crime on national television, there is indeed a case before the court that can sail through?
Again, being cautionary, I cannot speak to his guilt. The court will make that determination. What I can tell you, and what I can tell you very strongly, is that the burden of proof rests entirely on the prosecution. It never shifts. Even if they want to argue evidential burden, I don't see how that will inure in their favor here. They will have to prove his guilt. El-Rufai, again, is not obligated to say anything. All he has to say in court is, I did not wiretap. And by the way, what are we talking about? That Malam Nuhu Ribadu, seriously, is willing to concede that his phone was wiretapped and is still in office at the NSA? Does that tell you something? In a country that kidnappers are calling their victims, in a country that Boko Haram terrorists are on TikTok, and the NSA of that country comes on record to say my phone was wiretapped. For me, that is a more serious security breach than the wiretap itself, than the charge itself. Because it speaks to a lot of things. And as I said, it was a reckless comment by the former governor of Kaduna State, for which some answers should be provided. But they are not interested in even getting answers. If they are interested in getting answers, shouldn't they have spoken to him? Because how did the wiretap happen? Have they told Nigeria? They are the ones to tell us. It's not El-Rufai that has the duty to make that disclosure. They have to disclose to us. And in the charge, they said others at large. Who are the others?
So for you, I think, I mean, if I get your drift now, for you, it is more disturbing that whether they filed it rightly or wrongly, or whatever it is you want to call it, the admission, as Bukola said, for the fact that they filed a case, they technically may have been admitting or may have admitted that the phone of an NSA has been wiretapped. And that is very borderline worrying on national security.
They have to admit it. If they don't admit it, the charge is a non-starter. They must first admit that his phone was wiretapped, and upon that admission, the National Security Advisor should tender his resignation, apologize to the president, apologize to Nigerians. I am sorry. My incompetence is now self-evidence. What other evidence of incompetence? If I tell you, National Security Advisor of a country, that my phone has been wiretapped, if they are not willing to concede, they cannot bring this charge. And by the way, they say, oh, he has confessed. Whether what he has said will amount to confession in court, I don't know. But what I know about confession, under section 27 and 28 of the Evidence Act 2011, it has to be direct, it has to be positive, it has to be unequivocal. If you listen to what El-Rufai said, can you tell me this morning that it was a direct, unequivocal, and positive admission of guilt? Because if it is direct, you don't admit to a crime through allegory, through allegorical terms or philosophical expressions. There should be no room for doubt or disputation. There has to be clarity
so there's
on how the wiretap happened.
There's no clarity in that comment.
Let me, before I yield to Karen,
we all listened.
Count 3. Let's read that count 3.
Yes.
This, what do you call it now? This equipment matter that you, Malam Nasser El-Rufai, adult male, and others still at large, sometime in 2026 in Abuja, within the jurisdiction of this court, with others still at large, did use technical equipment or systems which compromised public safety, national security, and instilling reasonable apprehension of insecurity among Nigerians by unlawfully intercepting the phone conversation of the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, to which you admitted during an interview on the 13th of February 2026 on a Rise TV station, primetime program in Abuja, and thereby committed the offense contrary and punishable under this.
What is the technical equipment that was used?
I read the charge because I wanted you to see
the charge must have particulars.
Yes, I read the charge because I wanted you to see the premise of arrival.
I've seen it. I'm saying that the charge must disclose particulars.
I think largely you spoke to that earlier.
What is the name of the equipment? When was it acquired? Where is it kept? Who has access to that equipment this morning? These are questions that a serious investigative agency ought to answer. But what is their attitude to it? Somebody woke up in the morning, had a bad dream, rushed to court to file a charge, did not bother to speak to the person you want to prosecute. I am telling Nigerians, and I want to be quoted on this, that the federal government of Nigeria has no interest in prosecuting Nasser El-Rufai on this issue.
It's funny. I'm sure some will want you to maybe even represent him in court because you do a great job.
No, they're not interested in prosecuting him.
I mean him. That's Malam Nasser El-Rufai, because you're doing a great job helping to really see through this case. But I want us to speak to maybe a fundamentally important issue. And I think you mentioned it. There's also politics in this. In fact, some are already looking at 2031.
Yes.
Nuhu Ribadu, El-Rufai. I mean, after 2027 is done, there'll be a 2031, and there'll be someone to run for office
from the north,
from northern part of Nigeria. So while we are discussing this whole matter, there's some saying they've given us yet another distraction, something to distract us with and have a conversation about, when primarily this is about politics. So how are you factoring all of that in? Do you also see this from that angle? If that is what it is, how should Nigerians approach this?
Kayode, part of the problem with this case is that you have a president who, on subscribing to oath of office and oath of allegiance on the 29th of May 2023, started campaigning for the next election the following day. This is a government of politics. This is almost in my recent memory. You can correct me. That you have had a national security advisor as partisan as El-Rufai. I was watching...
As Nuhu Ribadu.
Sorry, as Nuhu Ribadu, sorry. I was watching the president's visit to Adamawa yesterday, live. It was streamed live by one of the television stations. I saw Nuhu Ribadu seated beside the president. Almost every gathering of the APC, the national security advisor of a country is there. No, that is an aberration. The NSS office is ought to be substantially insulated from partisan politics. So that you have the NSA, national security. You don't bring politics into national security. You have the NSA of a country, openly partisan, wearing a Milocon cap, telling us 4+4, when Boko Haram is killing members of the armed forces, terrorists are rampaging the country. Now they have brought the US to help us. You know who is the National Security Advisor of the United States? The National Security Advisor of the US. It's Rubio that is acting in that role. Do you see him follow Trump to every rally?
But he's partisan as well.
No, I'm not saying he shouldn't have political leaning. I'm saying that we had a man called, Mungono, a former NSA. Ribadu is not the first. But I'm saying in my recent history, recollection, the media should fact check me on this. I don't know of a national security advisor that has been more partisan than this current NSA. That is an aberration. No, the media should call it out. Yeah, why is that important? Because in determining whether this is a serious legal case, you have an NSA that is clothed with partisan outfits.
Is that,
and that blurs his judgment.
Is that even surprising in the sense? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is that even surprising in the sense? This man, he ran for president. He ran for office of the president. This Nuhu Ribadu, under the party of the current president.
Assam Congress.
I remember when incident happened, and he was boasting that time, and under this administration, saying nobody tries Tinubu and wins. And some of us raised concerns about, look, guy, can you just stick to your job at the end of the day? But so what the question I guess I'm asking, what is left to Nigerians? They've appointed him. Some people say he's doing a great job. So how should we assess him? Is it based on his partisan leaning or his performance in real time? Okay, they don't like that word, by the way, of managing national security.
When you have an Emilokon president, you will likely have an Emilokon NSA. You believe it is his turn. That is my assessment of him. All these guys are interested in his politics. His politics, because we are dealing with a serious issue here. Please, for 1 second, for the sake of this country, can we be serious? You mean the phone of the NSA was wiretapped? Do you know how serious that is? National Security Advisor, his own phone, people are able to intercept his conversation. There is no outrage. In the US, you have congressional hearings. I haven't heard a motion on the floor of the Senate, on the floor of the House of Reps. No legislative investigation that the phone of the NSA was wiretapped. And they are not even interested in asking the man who made that insinuation what exactly happened. They don't want to speak to him. So let Ribadu save Nigerians this embarrassment and tell us what is going on. You cannot allow this. It is unacceptable. And the president doesn't seem worried. I said yesterday, I'm not telling you hearsay, I watched it live yesterday. Fact check me as I'm talking. Tinubu on a state visit to Adamawa, Ribadu sat right beside him. Every gathering of the APC, the NSA is there. Is he advising APC on security? I don't understand. Is he the head of the APC security committee?
Well, it's from
and there's also there's also that aspect of El-Rufai talking about how he's using the ICPC to target him.
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay.
Let El-Rufai answer for the charges against him. EFCC has invited him.
But he's in government and he should know. So he says he's using the ICPC to deploy the DSS to make arrests, and that is a pattern in this administration.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm aware yesterday he reported at the FCC. He spent the night. I hope there was no mosquito. But on a serious
Did
note,
he spend the night or he returned home?
well, I don't know.
Because he has subsequent appointments with the DSS.
There are reports that he spent the night.
it's
If he
reported that he
returned
returned
home,
home.
good. If he spent the night, good. As long as they don't detain him beyond conditional period. Let him answer for his stewardship in Kaduna. There is no sentiment to that. The people of Kaduna State deserve explanation on how he governed the state, on their finances.
Yeah.
Because I told you I'm not a fan of this man. And the other comment he made was one of the activists, Daddy Yatta. Did you hear what he said?
No.
He was indirectly implicating Ganduje. Why is the government not interested in investigating the SSS? Why are they not investigating the disappearance of Daddy Yatta? Have you wondered? And now they are suddenly pretending. I read in the media that they now want to investigate it. So after all these years, because El-Rufai
So the timing
is no
is wrong.
longer wearing a Milocon cap, they want to remember that a gentleman called Daddy Yatta forcefully was disappeared. I am saying that we should stop playing politics with the lives of Nigerians. Now we will expect the government to give that family closure. What happened to Daddy Yatta? Because El-Rufai says it was a problem of the Kano state government. I haven't heard Ganduje, by the way, come out to challenge him. I don't know if his people have spoken, but even if they have, there has to be proper inquiry. El-Rufai should be invited.
All right.
To tell Nigerians, who is the name, who is the police officer that confessed that he feels bad or he felt bad about his role in the disappearance of Daddy Yatta. El-Rufai as governor of Kaduna, again I want to remind Nigerians, nobody should construe that, oh, this lawyer is coming to defend Malam. I don't have any interest in defending him. There are things about his governance that some of us fundamentally disagreed with, including the religious politics in the state. The people of Southern Kaduna have a lot to say. The people of Adara Kingdom,
We're getting into that conversation next.
Adara Kingdom, they have a lot to say about El-Rufai. But on this issue of wiretapping, Nigerians should not be carried away. This government is not interested in prosecuting El-Rufai.
So were his comments without equivocation or not, I guess the courts will decide. But on the wider implications of his administration and what happened, that's where we're headed. But we must thank you very much, Mr. Enibe Effiong, for coming on the program and providing your professional insights. Mr. Enibe Effiong is a constitutional lawyer and human rights activist. Thank you for your time on the program.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
We'll take a moment now. When we return, we'll talk to a gentleman who has quite a lot to say about what transpired during the El-Rufai administration in Kaduna State. Stay with us. We'll be right back.